Hello YouTube! What you're looking at here is the screenshot that started a whole conversation in Final Fantasy XI Retail uh, probably close to a half a year ago at this point, and when you start to look close, you're going to see why this was such an interesting point in the community. All the characters in this screenshot have versions of the Relic weapons equipped, except they're a little bit different. We see the Aegis over here, but dark. The Yoichi bow, the Gungnir, the Claustrum, Ragnarok. I remember seeing the Mandout. There's Excalibur back here in this character's hand. So basically, we thought this could be something that could be coming to the game, but there was no information given to us at any point about it. If you're curious about checking out this screenshot for yourself, there's actually a whole-on website dedicated to the Voracious Resurgence. Now, if you're one of the people who was under the impression that Final Fantasy XI was dying back in 2016, when there was a lot of chatter about that, definitely go and check out this website for yourself and see that the game is very much alive and they're releasing new missions at the moment. So that website is right over here. It's the Voracious Resurgence. You could click through to the Return of the Vanadil campaign, which is going on right now. You can click back to previous parts of the campaign and what characters were involved. Before we go any further, I just want to ask you to hit that like button and subscribe to the stream if you want to see more Final Fantasy XI Retail and endgame content. That's the first thing. Second thing, you should know that I will be showing footage of the most recent mission in the Voracious Resurgence. So if that's something you're still working on and you want to avoid spoilers, go do it, come back, watch the rest of the video. Without further ado, let's check out what happened in this month's Voracious Resurgence mission that's got everybody talking again. Okay, as you can see here, this footage was taken from my Twitch stream. All right, let's watch and see what happens. So at this point in the story, the Yagudo is asking about a black sword. If you have done any of the earlier Voracious Resurgence missions, you have seen that there's this trio of characters, the Mandragora, and they're actually in this shot right here. The Mandragora, the Goblin, and this dude, the Mole. So those are the three characters that have been sort of featured in the Voracious Resurgence missions prior. And the Goblin in those missions, different Goblin from this one right here, the Goblin in those missions has always been walking around with a, I believe that is the Ragnarok, but a dark version. Okay, this is the Goblin that's been featured since Mission 1 in the new Voracious Resurgence missions. And you can see he's holding like a dark version of the Ragnarok. Now, we just call it dark. It could be Phantom version. I mean, he's called the Gloom Phantom. But we've seen this character over and over in the missions. Now, going back to the most recent release mission, you'll see the Goblin we're talking to is a different Goblin, but he starts to shed some light on what's going on with these weapons. Here, the Yagudo is asking about the dark weapon and what its purpose is in all of this story. And he asks specifically, the Yagudo Nyaku asks, is there any way to forge another one of these black swords? The Goblin goes on to say, it is a secret known only to goblins. And he says, although you've become a goblin brother today, I can tell you, but everyone else pretend not to listen. So it's just a small piece of this story without giving too much away. The bird and the goblin now have a friendship, almost like a brothership. The bird says, are you sure about this? And the goblin goes on to tell us, 5,000 years ago, the evil chaos tried to destroy all that was new, including the world itself. 5,000 years ago, the strongest of these new beings joined forces. And this is the sort of teaser shot for whoever the big bad chaos is that we assume is going to be coming in the 20th anniversary, but don't quite have any information on that, not directly from SE themselves, and there's nothing in the game so far that seemed like it's leading to a boss in particular. But it says, a weapon so more powerful than crystal needed to destroy this boss. Again, we don't know if a boss is coming. I think it's a safe assumption personally that the 20th anniversary, if there's any kind of large content release, that there will be a big bad at the end of that. Again, we don't know. But what's coming in the rest of this video here is what we're interested in. It says this special weapon requires an individual with a strong soul. So the bearer of the soul, a wise Diverger demon, created the black weapons. The Divergers are the chair mobs. I've just always called them the chair mobs. I'm excited. Up there. Okay, so this shot is kind of, you don't get the full view of it, and you don't get to see it for very long. They just kind of like the way that they do these cutscenes, like the Chaos one we just saw, and this one right here is, you cannot pause the game while this part of the cutscene is playing. So the dialogue will auto scroll, the image will auto scroll, and then it will be over, and you can't have done anything about it except rewatch the cutscene. So that's what we're doing here. But the Goblin does point out, not just this sword was created in order to defeat the big bad, but all kinds of weapons. And what do we see here? Well, this is the Ragnarok. So if you see the model here, but also I'll pull up the Excalibur. You can see the winged portion of the model here. We come back, here's the Excalibur, here's the Ragnarok. Quote-unquote dark versions is what the community has been calling it. The Svarai over there. I think we're just about to get to the peak of our view on this shot. Yeah. It's kind of hard to see everything, but you can see a little bit better. You can see Mjolnir on the right behind where I was, as well as I think that's the Aegis. The gun, the Annihilator, is above that. So as you can see from this image, it really looks like we're getting a dark version of the relic weapons with whatever the future of this content holds. So I'm going to leave you with some chatter that happened after this on my Twitch stream about my thoughts, about chat's thoughts, and you can kind of get a sense of where the community is on this subject. And please feel free to post down below what you think, what you're expecting. And that way, when they do finally release something, you can look back in the comments and say, hey, I called it, or hey, I was way off base. But I'm going to leave you with that, and I'll see you at the end of the video. Yeah, I guess I haven't given much thought to the actual what weapons would go to who. Does that take care of all the relics? I guess the shield. Yeah, okay, so the shield and the instrument probably not. The pole arm. Probably not, but Warrior could potentially get it. That'd be funny. Gungnir Warrior? But Warrior gets everything. Wait, no, never mind. Warrior is already one of the older jobs. None of the newer jobs use polearm. Man, give Dancer a polearm skill or something. I don't know. First time chat, Hera might actually make some of the relics that have fallen back come back into decency. I agree with you. The other thing that I really want to see is a reworking of the weapon skills themselves. I think that could do it alone. And maybe that comes with... Maybe the dark versions have enhanced versions of the weapon skills instead of just straight damage boosts like it currently is. Make Bravura great again. Bravura... I ought to make Bravura before there's more hype. I always love the look of the weapon. And my warrior's good to go otherwise. Give Monk the polearm and some skill. There you go, monk. I don't know. Dancer on Mandao doesn't really get much of a benefit, just off the top of my head. Like I was just trying to think if there was any reason I'd use it on Dancer over Thief. But I guess technically if the critical hit damage were to go higher or something, it would be good for climactics, but not in the way that's relevant. I mean, the dagger isn't even relevant right now. I've been trying to rank up mine just in case they do release Dark Relics, and now we're getting closer, and you need to be R15 for whatever reason. I wanted to make sure that my Mandao was ready to go. Red Mage, Thief, Bard. So yeah, this would definitely go on Dancer if they were to add jobs. We'd have to see, obviously. You're planning to make Rever for the same reason? Awesome. On one hand, it really seems like a new edition of Rima. They're talking about forging them completely. But it's saying the goblins know how to forge them. But do the goblins need the original relic in order to forge? We don't know. Now, if it's just a continuation of the relic, I honestly think it should just be a continuation of the relic line. The relics feel dated in more than one way, and the way I'm thinking in particular is that they feel dated in terms of their creation method. We've always reforged. I agree with you, and needed the base to reforge. You wouldn't expect SC to require you to hand over an already made mythic. The thing is, the mythic weapon is so outdated in terms of its creation anyway. Yeah, so maybe ignore the R15. What if the 119 version is reforged? And in a sense, I agree with you here, Mala. This is a really good point, actually. One type of Rima getting an upgrade and not others. Except we all already want the relics to get an upgrade. At the very least, I've been of the camp of if you just upgrade the relic weapon skills, they could actually be viable. Right now, if Mercy Stroke, my favorite example is Mercy Stroke. If Mercy Stroke looked like Howling Fist, we'd have a viable weapon skill that doesn't build the same as the rest of Thief's weapon skills. Like, I'm not sure what I want. I would like the idea of upgrading the old relics, as long as, I guess what would make the most sense is you upgrade the relic, and then it keeps its R status. So you could do R0. You could have not ever put a single detritus onto it. You don't even have to have the dynamics clear, as long as you have the afterglowed version. I don't know. Here's the thing, right? I think at the end of the day, here's my kind of like final opinion. If they give us a new Rima that looks like the relics, but it's not the relics, and don't somehow upgrade the relic weapon skills for the original relics, or just in general, it kind of further pushes the relic weapons into obscurity. And that is like slightly worse. Like, yeah, it's slightly worse. Like, of course we want new targets to fight, new weapons to aspire to complete. But how long can you leave relics sort of like the worst of the Rima without doing something about it? Like, I just feel like it's the opportune time. So that's it for today's video. Remember to leave in the comments below what you think is going on with the Voracious Resurgence, or the 20th anniversary, or Dark Relics, or Job Mastery, anything. And also hit subscribe and let me know that you want to see more Final Fantasy XI content. We are almost at 500 subscribers. I'm really looking forward to that. So thank you all who have been supporting me all along the way, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out. Very well. This Time is of the essence, so I shall report to the Archpriest immediately and prepare a letter for the Theomilitary. Master Incantrix, Master Ni'aku, I hope we can put this rather unfortunate business beside us.